pages.
Hello, welcome to all my viewers on the west and east side of the river, and the show is coming to you live from the studios of VPW 11 on 657 Stafford Street in downtown Winnipeg, Manitoba. I'm very pleased to have with me tonight my very special guest, Greg Brezinski, marketing rep for Microsoft Canada, who will present a very intensive demonstration of the Windows operating environment with Windows 3.0. Once again, because this is a very involved topic and will require a great deal of time to demonstrate it, I will be unable to take phone calls at this time for this show only. But if you have specific questions that relate to the program being shown tonight, you may call Greg at his office at 947-9442. That they have a local office here in Winnipeg on Broadway Avenue. Now let Greg take it away and show you Windows version 3.0.
Okay, thanks very much, Barry. Pleasure to be here tonight. Before I get started on Windows, I'd like to maybe go over some of the things that are key to the Windows environment. First of all, the Windows environment really provides people with a consistent interface between applications. So for instance, if you're familiar with working with a word processing program that works in the Windows environment, when it comes time for you to work with a Windows-based spreadsheet or perhaps a database product, what you'll find is there's a very consistent way of operating with the different products. Also, the Windows environment provides you with a WYSIWYG environment. What you see is what you get. So when it comes to viewing things on screen, things like graphics or different font typefaces, etc., what you'll see is that they actually look on screen exactly as they're going to look when you print them out. Thirdly, the environment is very easy to learn and use. While it may look intimidating at first because it's so different from anything we're familiar with, it is nonetheless an environment where you're really encouraged to point and click at things and really pull down menus and things of that nature to really browse the functions. Also, you can directly manipulate objects on screens. Things like resizing windows, changing the size of a window, or perhaps modifying screen colors, things of that nature you can do just by simply pointing and clicking on them. And lastly, we have also a very easy exchange of data between applications. That's one of the strongest features of the Windows environment, is a process called dynamic data exchange, and I'll actually demonstrate that later. But really what it entails is being able to take information from one application and easily integrate it into another application. Okay, so that's sort of a quick overview on Windows. What I'll do now is actually start working with the product and show you some things about it. First of all, this is the Program Manager front end, if you will. From here we can actually go out and launch applications. With Windows 3.0, what we've done is we've actually taken the environment and made it so we have these groups down here at the bottom, windows, if you will. And by double-clicking on one, as you can see, it expands that window out to really allow you to simply point and click on an application that you want to access. The nice thing about this particular environment is that you no longer have to worry about DOS file names. Now you've got the ability to actually use file names that really mean something to you. Okay. So, let's take a look now at one particular application included with Windows called File Manager. Just like Program Manager is the front end for launching applications, our File Manager program is the way that we work with directories on the system. So here, for example, we've got a visual depiction of the actual disk itself. Okay, so what I can do here is if I say wanted to view the files in the Data1 directory, all I have to do is point to it with the mouse, double-click, and a second window will open up and show me all the files. If I want to, say, move some of these files, I can do that very easily as well. Let's say that we move File 1, File 3 and 4, and, say, File 7. Just by selecting all those files and now clicking on any one of them and dragging the mouse across the screen, you can see the mouse cursor changes into a multiple file icon. and then I can then pick the directory that I want to deposit those files into. Get a confirming mouse operation box, which is sort of a last chance, yes or no. If I click on yes, what you'll see is those files have moved out of data 1, and if I now double-click on the data 2 directory, that's where they are. So it's a true move operation. It'll delete the files from the source directory, copy them to the destination directory, and then clean up the disk. Okay, so I'll just close that window down for now. The way that the environment is really made to work is simply by pointing and clicking at things. So for instance, if I point to the file menu here, this pull-down menu pops up and we have things like copy a file, delete a file. We can also create a directory. We can also do searches both on the local disk and also across a network. Under the disk menu, I can do things like copy, label, and format diskettes, and so on. I can also connect and disconnect to network drives. These options are shown as grayed out right now because I'm not actually connected to a network. We also have a really nice help system built in as well. With Windows, you probably find yourself not really requiring to go to manuals very often. The help systems that are actually integrated into the Windows applications are very thorough. So let's say I wanted help on connecting to a network drive. Okay, I can just point to that and I've got instant help available on that function. Also here, I don't know if you'll be able to see this clearly, but if I press this button, you'll see it actually appears to press in on the screen. That's part of the Windows 3 3D look, and basically just giving people an environment that they can have fun working in. Okay, very consistent way of opening and closing applications. I just choose the file exit command to exit out of there, and similarly what I'll do now is exit out of File Manager and go back into the Program Manager front end. Okay, just to give you a little bit more information about the Windows environment, what I'll do is explain what some of these other icons on the screen represent. The clipboard icon is a place that we use to temporarily store information when we're copying and pasting it from one application to another. We also have the control panel, and this is an area where you can actually really modify the Windows environment. For example, if you want to change all the screen colors, okay, you can go in and select from a different palette of schemes, if you will. We've got a number of different ones that are included with Windows. Also, if you're not really happy with the ones that we've built into the program, you can actually go out and define your own. So if I change this, say, workspace background here from gray, I can go out and pick maybe a yellow color for it, or a lighter yellow, or white, or really anything, and so on. Also, if I'm not happy with these colors that are available to me here, I can actually go out and define my own custom colors and access the entire VGA palette. Now, where is that guy? Anyway, as I move the mouse cursor around through the palette, you can see the boxes just down below where I'm moving the mouse are actually changing, reflecting the different colors that I'm actually able to access. Once I've got a color that I like, I can simply add that color in using this button and it'll appear down here in the custom color box. But for now, let's just leave everything as it is. Okay, I mentioned earlier that Windows is a WYSIWYG environment. What you see is what you get. So for instance, if I say want to see what a 36-point Helvetica font will look like, I can show that on screen. Also, if you have a PostScript printer, you can make use of the dingbat character set. And basically, this is just a set of different graphic symbols that's available on PostScript, and so on and so on. So the benefit here is that you don't have to actually print something out to see it. You can see it on screen before you print it out. This particular ports icon allows you to support up to 4 ports with Windows. The mouse icon allows you to really modify whether you're, say, right or left-handed when you use your mouse, and so on. We've also got this desktop icon. There's a lot of things you can do in here. One of the nice things about this environment is it's really intended to make it, say, a very personalized environment for people. So, for instance, if I wanted to, say, modify the background, I can do that. Tonight was Simpsons night, so if I choose the Bart wallpaper, I'll show you exactly what happens in the background. I'll just click the down arrow in Program Manager, and you can see here that the background that I've just inserted is Bart Simpson. We can't seem to get away from Bart these days. Okay. In the same way, I can add in different backgrounds. One of the backgrounds that does come with Windows is our chessboard background. And I'll just show you what that one looks like. It's fairly common. If you've seen Windows anywhere, you've probably seen this background. Really, the intent here is that you can really customize your environment once again. You can really individualize your workspace. This particular background could be anything that's a bitmapped image. So if you, say for example, wanted to put a corporate logo as a background, or perhaps a picture of your husband and wife or something like that, you could easily do that. The Paint program that's included with Windows allows you to create those bitmaps. 386 Enhanced Mode here really allows us, on a 386 computer, we can multitask or, say, time slice various applications. So this allows us to set up the foreground and background time that applications are given. Printer control here really allows us to set up different printers that the system is capable of printing out to. And the other icons down here, again, are just other programs or sub-programs, if you will, that allow you to optimize the Windows environment. Okay, let's go back into the Program Manager. The thing with this particular environment is I don't actually have to exit one application before I begin using another. For instance, down here at the bottom of the screen I have the clock running, which will give me a real nice depiction of what time it is anytime that I want it. And it always keeps running even as an icon down at the bottom of the screen. I also have another program here called Word for Windows open as well, and this one over here that you can't really see because of the background that I have going here right now is Excel, which is our spreadsheet program. So you can easily pop back and forth from one to the other, and I'll show you how I work with that in a few minutes. The DOS prompt, what we can do there, if you find that you have to move out to DOS for any reason, selecting DOS prompt allows you to go out to it, so you can, for example, get a directory of your disk or any other things like that. A simple two-key keystroke allows you to move back to Windows. Pressing Control Escape on the keyboard pops you back into whatever window was previously running, and it also brings up the Task Manager, which is this box on the screen that will allow me to easily select which other application I want to move to at this point. Okay, the File Manager I already showed you. The PIF Editor is a program that we have for really controlling how Windows operates with existing character-based applications. The key here is that Windows applications are all graphical. Okay, so again, what you see is what you get when you're working with things on the screen. The PIF Editor is a program that allows you to optimize traditional programs in how they use memory, what type of screen display they might use, whether they run in a window, and so on and so on. Print Manager is how we can control print jobs both locally and over a network. Windows 3 is a network-ready product, as are all the Windows applications. The Recorder icon here really allows us to automate procedures that we might want to perform not only with an application but across multiple applications. Say, for example, you wanted to open up, say, the spreadsheet, but you wanted to have the window a certain size on the screen. You could record a macro using the Macro Recorder feature to have it automatically, in effect, play back what you had completed once. It's almost like a tape recorder, if you will. The System Files icon is a quick way for me to automatically edit really the most commonly edited files on a DOS-based machine. autoexec.bat, config.sys, and two Windows files called win.ini and system.ini. Really, just by double-clicking on that one icon, I can open up all four of those files and work with them in our simple text editor called Notepad. Swap file, I'll come back to that in just a minute. And Windows Setup, I'll show you that one right now. This is a big improvement of this version of Windows versus the older versions of Windows. In the past, for example, if you were to change a system setting, say change your display type or keyboard, or maybe add a mouse to your machine, what happened was you actually had to reinstall the entire environment. With Windows 3, you don't have to do that anymore. Now you can simply go out and change, say, just the display type. If I was to, say, go from a VGA screen to, say, an 8514 screen, I could simply select it, and Windows would ask for the appropriate disk that had that driver on it. It would reinstall, reboot, and you'd be off and running again. So you don't have to reinstall, and that's the big thing. As I mentioned, Windows 3 is network ready. As you can see here, we have support for a number of different networks: 3Com, Banyan, IBM, Landman, Novell, etc., etc. Okay, so let's just exit out of here. Now, the bottom line here says swap file, permanent 4098K bytes on drive C. What we're doing here on a 386 processor is we're actually simulating RAM memory with physical disk space. So in this particular system, I have actually 4 megabytes of RAM on my machine. I'm right now running Word for Windows, which takes about a megabyte of memory to run. I'm running Excel, which again takes another megabyte. I'm running a DOS prompt, which is a 640K session. And I'm also running the clock. What I'll do here is just go up to the help screen, and if I look at About Program Manager, what it says here is I have still over 5 megabytes of free memory. Well, that's pretty amazing because this system actually only has 4 megabytes of RAM in it. So again, what we're doing there is we're actually getting that additional memory with simulated disk space, okay, off the enhanced mode. That's a feature that's only available on 386 processors. It's an actual physical hardware capability of the 386 chip. Okay, so that's sort of a quick run-through of these particular applications in the main program window. Another window that installs automatically is our accessories group. And here with Windows, what we do is we actually provide you with a number of accessories that will allow you to simulate your desktop. So for example, on your desktop, you'll probably find that you have something like a calculator. Well, on Windows, again, we also have a calculator. So I can use the mouse to do things, or I can simply use the numeric keypad of my keyboard and type numbers in. The nice thing about this particular calculator is that once I've got a value calculated, what I can do is go up to the edit menu and actually copy that information. And then I could then, for example, move to a word processor, a spreadsheet, or a database, and so on, and then just paste that information in, going to that application's edit menu and hitting the paste command. Again, that's with Windows applications. Okay, also, if you find that you need more functions than this particular one, we also have a scientific mode in our calculator. So here, for example, you can see that we support hexadecimal, decimal, octal, and binary numbers. We also have a number of statistical functions built into this calculator, and so on and so on. So whichever way you choose to work with the calculator, it probably would do the job. Okay, we also have a calendar program, which allows you to, of course, put in appointments and schedules that you may have, you know, business-wise or personal or anything like that. We also have a card file program that would allow you to track things like friends and relatives' addresses, business contacts, things of that nature. Okay, again, we have the clock. It's actually down here at the bottom of the screen. If I double-click to bring it up, okay, you can see that you can display things as either digital or analog. Okay, and whatever way you work with it, when you minimize it back down to an icon at the bottom of the screen, it's actually still going to keep time for you. So it's a nice little time indicator at the bottom of the screen. We also have, again, the notepad, which is our simple text editor. Okay. We have a nice color paint program now. In the past, the paint program in Windows was a monochrome paint program. This now is a full color paint program. So if I say wanted to draw a rectangle, select my internal color and my border, and I can then draw a rectangle on the screen. I can go out and draw things like circles. Okay. If I say wanted to draw things like lines, again, you can do that. You know, none of these things are really wild and fancy or anything, but it's a nice, simple drawing program. It does support things like curves and things like that. Also, we've got a, where's the spray can? There it is. Okay, I can go out and I can actually spray like this and so on. The nice thing about this particular program is that it allows you to create the bitmaps like the chessboard that you saw earlier in the backgrounds. So, you know, you don't actually have to look elsewhere for those backgrounds. You can create your own.
And they would be compatible with most other graphics type programs?
Yeah, you can save paintbrush files as MSP or PCX files, which are very standard formats. Okay, the next two icons here are a couple of games that we've included with Windows. I'll come back to those in a couple of seconds. We also have a modem communications program here called Terminal, which supports binary file transfers. And we also have a simple WYSIWYG word processor called Write, which again will allow you to see things like different font typefaces on screen, graphics, and so on. This particular program that I'm going to load is called Solitaire, which I'm sure everyone's familiar with. What we've done here is really graphically gone and depicted playing the game of Solitaire. The intent here is really to give people an application that is both fun to play with, but also really good practice in using a mouse. As you can see, it's simply a matter of pointing to something and moving it. Okay? So when we talk about direct object manipulation and things like that, what we're talking about are these sort of capabilities. Okay? And again, it's just, you would play it just like you would play Solitaire itself, flip some cards, and so on and so on. Okay. So let's just edit out of here. Okay, so that's sort of a quick overview on the main group and the accessories group. Now what I'd like to do is actually show you a couple of Windows applications and how they all work together. What I'll do now is just open up one called Word for Windows. And this is our word processor for the Windows environment. Okay, we've got things, as I mentioned earlier, we have a very consistent interface between applications. So what I'll just do quickly is pull down the File menu and show you that we have commands like File Open, File Close, File Save, Exit, and so on. Under the Edit menu, we have things like Cut, Copy, and Paste. We have a Window menu where we can actually have multiple files open all at one time. And again, we also have a help system built in. So again, you don't actually have to find yourself referring to printed documentation. You can review the online documentation built into the applications. Again, as I mentioned also, this is a WYSIWYG environment. What you see is what you get. So if I select this particular block of text here, and I wanted to bold it, I just have to click this B icon here at the top of the screen. This is what we call our ribbon bar. I can also turn that text into italics as simply as that. Okay, and you can actually see what it's going to look like on screen. It doesn't require a separate print preview mode or anything like that. As you can see here, we've got graphics on the screen at the same time. Okay, so again, a full graphical environment. Okay, what I'm going to do here is just move down a little bit through the document here. And as I scroll back down, I can see here that we're talking about a chart which illustrates the productivity benefits that Windows can provide. Just as a point of interest, I've just got a little note here. There's a study done by a company called Temple Barker and Sloan in New Hampshire that, in New Jersey, that actually addressed the benefits of working with a graphical environment versus a character-based environment. Okay. What they found is that new users of computers were able to complete 42% more tasks than people using just straight character-based programs. At the same time, they also had a 48% greater output in a given hour. Experienced users were 50% more operations in an hour, and also 58% improvement in output per hour as well. So there is some actual third-party information that shows us the benefits that the Windows environment and the graphical environment in general can provide for people.
Would that be due to using the mouse and because recognition of pictures? That would be...
Yeah, that's part of
right
it.
there?
It also comes down to the fact that, again, we have a consistent interface between the applications. So as far as people using multiple applications, they found that once they were using one application, they were quickly able to begin using a different kind of application right away, just because of that consistency in the way products work. Also, it's very easy to integrate information between different applications, as I'll show you right away. Okay, so let's sort of a quick run-through of our word processor. If I click this down arrow at the top right of the screen, it will put that application down at the bottom once again. What I'm going to do here is move Program Manager down to the bottom of the screen as well. Okay, so we now have the clock, Word for Windows, Excel, the DOS prompt, where we did a directory, and the Program Manager, which is our front end. So if I double-click on this Excel icon, here's our spreadsheet for the Windows environment. Okay, so again, if I look at the File menu, I see things like Open, Close, Save, Save As, Exit. Okay, under the Edit menu, things like Cut, Copy, and Paste. Again, a Window menu where it can have more than one document open at the same time, and once again, a help system that's built in as well. If you're familiar with using other products like this one here, we actually have help. If I wanted to know how to open a file in Excel, here in this other spreadsheet program at /file retrieve, I can just type that keystroke in, and Excel's help system comes back and tells me, choose file open. So we've actually got programs that actually help you move from one application that you're already familiar with into, say, something like Excel. Okay, what I just want to do now is actually just show you, again, this is our spreadsheet program. And what we can do here is we can actually just draw a quick chart of this information on the productivity test. Okay, so I've selected the range that I want to chart, and with a simple one-key press, F11, I can draw a quick chart. If I want to draw that chart as a different format, say as a horizontal bar chart, all I have to do is point and click on that particular format, and as you can see, it'll redraw the chart in that format. Just by pointing to the title, I can go out and redefine that as well. Let's say I wanted to put a shadow around the title, and I want a lightweight box, and I also wanted to go out and change the typeface, maybe to a 12-point bold. Clicking on OK allows me to draw this new title box. Okay, so really as easily as that. It's just a matter of pointing and clicking on something. Now, when I've selected this chart, what I can do is go up here to the Edit menu and copy it. what I'll do now is actually just go out back into Word for Windows. And what I'm going to show you here is a capability of the Windows environment called Dynamic Data Exchange. Okay, so if I paste that chart in now, I'm using an option here called Paste Link. And I'll show you what that does. Okay, so the chart is just gone on to page 2 here, so I'll just move to that page. Okay, and here's the chart that we created. I can select the chart and easily modify it. Say I wanted to scale it. Okay, I can easily do that. And one of the really nice things about this is that if I now bring up both of those applications side by side, okay, just hit the tile command, what I've got now is Word for Windows on the left and Excel on the right. Now, because I created that chart in the spreadsheet program, what I'm going to do now is I'm actually going to go into Excel. When we create a chart from an Excel spreadsheet, it's actually linked to the chart. So any value that might change in the spreadsheet is going to reflect a change in the chart. So if I go now and I say change this value of 49 to 75, when I hit enter, what you're going to see is that this bar on the bottom in the word processing document and the scale are going to automatically reflect that change. Okay, so there you can see it. What this is all about is part of what I was talking about, easily integrating information between different applications. It's quite simple for you to create things like end-of-month reports and things like that, things that may change when you have very little time to actually to work on the changes. What you can do here is just go out to the one supporting or the one source document, change it in one place, and have it automatically reflected in the other. Okay. So that's a feature of Windows called Dynamic Data Exchange. What I'll just do now, just in closing up, is just move back to into the word processing document and just show you again, give you another idea of how we can directly manipulate things on screen. What I'm doing here is I'm just going to open up the word processing document again. I'm going to turn on the feature called Print Preview, which we have to view full page of the screen. And if I turn the boundaries command on and I say move this graphic to a different part of the screen, say over here, when I click off the screen, what you can see is the graphic moves, the text automatically wraps around it, and it really doesn't get any easier than that. Very much a point-and-click kind of environment. Okay, well that's sort of the Greg Brezinski 20-minute tour of Windows.
Well, I just had a couple of questions, Greg. How many applications would there be available for Windows? Because I know new companies are developing applications all along.
Right.
To follow along with that.
Currently, today, I'd say there are roughly between 800 and 1,000 applications available for this environment. One of the nice things about this environment is because it all is binary compatible, what happens is that you have a lot of independent software developers that can develop applications for it.
I see. And approximately how many people would be using this product?
It's hard for me to say that exactly, but I can tell you that in the first 100 days that Windows started shipping, since May 22nd, we sold over 1 million copies of Windows. That works out to about 10,000 copies a day.
So it definitely is becoming a standard.
Yeah, very much so. It's really becoming very popular.
I see. Okay, I'd just like to wrap up the show. I'd like to give special thanks to Greg, who took time out tonight to be with me on the show and present this very unique software program. I really appreciate it, Greg.
Thanks for having me.
For you coming out. The next show will be on October the 30th at the same time, and as yet I have not set any topic, but it could be about modems and BBSs, and possibly in a future show, if Greg agreed to, we could have him back again to discuss other programs that he knows about. I thank you for watching my show, and just a quick reminder that the Computer Club meeting for the Winnipeg PC Users Group is on October the 18th. I stand corrected, it's not the 19th, and that'll be at the University of Manitoba, the Agricultural Auditorium, and that starts at 7 o'clock. I thank to all my viewers who tuned in tonight, and until next time, I hope you found the show very informative and will be with me again when I will share my knowledge to help you learn all about computers. Bye for now.